It is for the children.
Yeah.
I dedicated it to the children, the brave children of DeSoto and Tate County, because they are the ones that need to know that they're not alone, that there is a community that wants to help them. The staff at Healing Hearts is a wonderful resource for them. And, they fight to right the wrong that's out there.
Each day at Wesley Meadows is a new opportunity to serve older adults and reimagine retirement living. It is the heart of their mission that inspires their team to provide the kind of fun atmosphere and care the residents would want for themselves. Experience the warm spirit and faith-based difference of Wesley Meadows. Call 662-429-2070 and schedule your visit today. Hello and welcome to The Real Hernando, presented to you by Wesley Meadows Retirement Community and produced by SRP Studios, podcast-powered branding for business growth. This podcast spotlights organizations, ministries, and community leaders in Hernando and greater DeSoto County by sharing their stories and what led them to serve the community. Please follow us at therealhernando.com for all channels and social media platforms. I'm your host, Derek, and today we are spotlighting the Healing Hearts Child Advocacy Center. I got through it. Yes, first try. Healing Hearts provides advocacy services to victims of child abuse in DeSoto and Tate Counties. Their mission is to respond to child abuse with a supportive team approach that reduces trauma through advocacy, treatment, education, and prevention. If you suspect a child has been abused, contact Mississippi Division of Child Protective Services at reportabuse.mdcps.ms.gov or call 1-800-222-8000. That's a lot of information there, so all of that will be in the description, and you go ahead and click that link. Today is Executive Director Misty Gray and a special guest, Ruth Munday, with her book, Button of Bravery. So we got a lot to cover today. There is a connection here. Thank you both for being here. And Misty, we're going to start with you and Healing Hearts to get some context and information on the organization, and then how it ties in with Ruth and Button of Bravery. So thanks for being here, Misty.
Thank you for having us.
Yes. So tell me a little bit about yourself.
Myself? Okay. Yeah. I have been working in child abuse right at 20 years, a little bit under 20 years. I started at Child Protective Services, and from there I took a job at Healing Hearts Child Advocacy Center as a supervisor, then program director, and now I am the executive director.
So how long have you been at Healing Hearts?
It will be 7 years. Well, it's actually 7 years last week.
Good for you. Good for you. Last week.
Yes.
Awesome. Doing God's work.
Yes.
For sure. Yes. So let's put a spotlight on Healing Hearts.
Okay.
So in a nutshell, what does it overall provide? Everything I just included in the intro, but why don't you extrapolate from that a little?
Okay, so what happens is if someone suspects child abuse, they make a report to Child Protective Services or they make a police report. Once Child Protective Services gets a report or law enforcement, they will then see if it meets our protocols that we've come up as a team. And if it does, they will send a referral to us. We will then scan it, input all the information, and double check it meets the protocols that we set. If it does, then we will set up an appointment for the child to come in. They will then have an interview, a forensic interview. All our interviewers are trained in Child First, which is a Mississippi law.
And the child's by him or herself, right? No parents there?
So a caregiver can bring the child, but it needs to be a caregiver that is not an alleged perpetrator.
Right.
So, yes, They'll come in, and then the child will sit in the lobby. It's very child-friendly. We have toys and stuffed animals everywhere. The family advocate that's assigned to the family will start to get to know the child. They'll bring the interviewer out just to introduce themselves real quick and kind of, see a face.
Kind of warm it up.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then the interviewer will take the child down the hallway to the interview room. And there they will begin to build rapport with the child. And then they will start scanning for all types of abuse and hopefully get the child to tell their story of what happened to them.
Mm-hmm. Do they do a physical inspection?
No, we do not do a physical inspection at our CAC. We do have community partners that are part of our team, and that would be the CARES Clinic. They're based at Le Bonheur. And so after the interview, the team meets together, which would be law enforcement, Child Protective Services, and Healing Hearts. And we have what we call a post-interview meeting. And there we'll discuss what is the next needs of this child and the family as a whole.
Yeah.
Does the child need a medical if they haven't already had a medical? Do we need to provide therapy for the child so they can begin to heal with
Sure.
what happened to them? And then they're screening too. The advocates are in there screening for the basic needs of the family. So we're looking, do they have clothes? Do they have food? Do they have gas? Do they have insurance? Does mom need therapy? Because this is very traumatic toward the whole family. It doesn't affect just the child.
Yeah.
Is the child in foster care? Is the child in a safety plan? What else can we do to help the family? Basically.
There's so many different scenarios
Yes.
it could be.
Yes, and then
So much investigating.
Yeah, it is. It is. So, and we follow the life of the case. So if that case takes 5 years for everybody to close, every entity to close their part of the case, we're going to follow up with that family every 3 months for 5 years straight. And if they need more follow-up, then we're going to put them on a list where they get more as time goes on.
Okay. So the alleged perpetrator, are they removed from this, or does that turn into like law? And
Yeah, that goes more on the CPS side, and that goes more on the law enforcement side. So each case is completely different. Sometimes it's in-home. And so, sometimes the perpetrator will leave the home. Sometimes the kids go into a safety plan. Sometimes they're left in the home, depending on the type of allegations it is. Every case, I can't speak for one or more. But, yes, the ultimate goal is, one, to keep the children safe. Allow them to tell their story if there was child abuse, and then making sure that we begin the healing process for the children and show the whole family that, we're supporting them through this time of need. So, if it does go to trial and it takes, 2 or 3, 4 years to get there, we're going to continue to follow up and make sure that they have everything they need through that process of the case.
Well, it's a sad question to ask, but how many kids are you following up with? Meaning, how many are in working through Healing Hearts right now?
So what I can tell you is, since we opened our doors in 2013, we've done over 50,000 family advocacy services.
That's not a number I was expecting.
So last year, we did 306 forensic interviews, 536 case reviews. And what that is we're our MDT coordinators. They're looking into every case that can possibly be something that needs to come to our center. So they have access to the Child Protective Services system, and then they're getting all their referrals from law enforcement too. So if the child is too young to be interviewed, let's say it's a 1-year-old and the 1-year-old has a skull fracture, we're still going to discuss that case and what's in the best interest of the child as far as the criminal side, as far as CPS, and then what we can do at Healing Hearts to help the family and that child. So we've done 536 case reviews last year, 1,355 family advocacy services, and 307 therapy services.
So the 307 that need therapy services are the more intense ones, I would gather, right?
No, because what we do is, if the child does not have insurance, we're going to refer them to us, because everything we do is free of cost. We do not charge the family for anything that we do. If the family has insurance but they cannot afford that deductible, we're going to get them to us. So we start screening more for that need, but sometimes our children need a more intense than what we can give. Sometimes they have to go to acute care, and so those children are referred out.
Yeah, you're connecting them to the right resources.
Yes, and then we do have therapists that are on our team too, and so sometimes we refer out to them too. So it just depends on the case.
So all the way up until 18?
Yes, all the way up till 17 and 364 days, the day before they turn 18.
Right, yeah.
So we do vulnerable adults too. We have done that. It's where an adult is maybe on a 12-year-old level. Long as we have that psychological that says that, then we can work them into and do an interview for them.
Yeah, because they're not as, I'm trying to be sensitive here, but they're not as equipped.
Yes.
Right, to understand what's going on. Yeah.
Correct.
All right. Well, gosh, that's some good work there.
Thank you.
That's a crazy number, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Are there any cases that stick out to you?
There's a lot of cases.
50,000?
There's a lot of cases that stick out to me, but unfortunately, there's laws.
Yes. Yeah.
And so everything that we do has to be highly, highly confidential.
Sure. No problem.
But I can say that we have a closet in our center. It's named Tyler's Closet. Tyler's Closet was named after a child that died in Horn Lake at the hands of abuse. Both parents are in prison. And then we have another closet, Aubrey's Closet, that's in Tate County, and that is also named after a child that died at the hands of abuse. Both of those cases were pretty severe. we see a lot. That's all I can tell you.
What's the closet?
So the closet is where we keep newer clothes for children. So if sometimes they come to us and they're just, they just have on what they wear. They're wearing house slippers. We want to make sure they have what they need before they leave. So it'd be clothes, coats, hygiene products, diapers, wipes.
Sure.
We have car seats too, and pack and plays, brand new. Because if they have a little sibling that doesn't have a bed, we want to make sure we give them what they need. Sometimes we have family that don't have food, and so we got to make sure we have some gift cards on hand that we can give them to Kroger to go get some food. It just depends on the case and what's going on with that family, but we keep it highly stocked. We switch out. We have a storage unit, so it's wintertime a little bit still right now. So, but when it gets a little bit hotter, we'll switch it out with the summer stuff, and that way the kids could have summer and then winter. We also do a Christmas present for the foster care children and prevention cases for CPS. So they give us a list, and we start putting up Christmas trees in DeSoto and Tate County, and people bring in presents for the kids, all ages, and then we sort all those and give those out to CPS and Tate, DeSoto. We also give presents to some of the children that come to the center that may not be involved in CPS, and it may be out of home case, where that means it's just law enforcement, and so CPS wouldn't have anything to do with it. We make sure our center kids, get Christmas too, and anything that's left over we give to Tunica because they have very limited resources.
Okay. When you say give it to Tunica
Child Protective Services.
Oh, the CPS.
Yes, and they will deliver it to the foster kids and prevention kids.
Does Tunica County not have
a child advocacy?
Yeah.
Yes, they do. They're serviced by Oxford. It's just we know that Oxford does some things too. Don't want to speak, bad or nothing. It's just this is something that we started here for DeSoto, and it grew so much, and we're like, well, let's just spread the love. And so whoever needs Christmas, we will whatever we have, we're going to hand out.
And you have 2 centers?
We have 1 center. It's in South Haven, but we serve DeSoto and Tate County.
Tate County, yeah.
Yes, and then if we have a child that may live like in Tishomingo County, they don't have a center. So we will get courtesy interviews requests, and we will get those kids in too. We also have an MOU with the FBI.
What's an MOU?
MOU means a memorandum of understanding. So that means if the FBI call and say, hey, we need to use your center, they're allowed to come in and do what they need to as far as the child getting the services they need.
They're investigating.
Yes.
Of course you want them in here. Let's get to the bottom of this
yes.
here. Yeah.
Yes. So we help Homeland Security, the Attorney General, FBI, NBI, whatever, our agencies need on a local level, state level, and federal level.
That's outstanding. Well, I want to circle back to how people can get involved and how you can fill that closet up. Mm-hmm. But let's bring Ruth in.
All right.
So Ruth Munday, thanks for being here again. This is your second time, and I think it was late last year, 2023. You were here.
It was. Thanks for having me back.
And we were promoting a book then, and now we're promoting a new book, Button of Bravery. Why don't you hold that up to the camera? There you go. Okay, so tell us a little bit about the book, and then I want to hear the story on how this got connected.
Yes. So the book is called Button of Bravery, and it is all about when a child goes through Healing Hearts Child Advocacy Center, after they share their story, they're taken to what they call the button room, and they're allowed to select a button from the tray and to represent themselves. And they can put this button in, they can choose to put it into a button machine, and the button goes down, and when it gets to the bottom, those buttons are collected, and then they're placed in heart-shaped collages on the wall. Uh-huh. So when you tour the facility, if you choose to be a volunteer or just to go take a tour on Fridays, I believe your office is open, you can actually see, when you go in the button room, all the children that have been through there. So it's very moving. And I signed up to be a volunteer and went through volunteer training for Healing Hearts in 2022. And I was given a tour of the facility. And when I did that and I went into the button room, I was just really moved by all the buttons on the wall. Because as she spoke to the large number of cases and the children that they serve, to me, it's so important, and I don't think that we can get the word out enough to create support.
Let me see the side
and community awareness.
So this is beautiful. Ruth Ashcraft Munday, illustrated by Kelsey Wyndham.
Yes, so she's a dear friend of the family, and I'd like to give a shout out to her for doing all the beautiful illustrations, and also to my graphic designer, Rebecca Roten. She helped me lay the book out.
So it was, by the time this airs, it's released.
That's right. It's releasing on April the 5th.
Released on April 5th.
Yes.
Little time warp here. For context, we're filming this in March. But so it is available now. And if you want a copy, we can contact Misty at misty@healingheartscac.com.
That's correct.
CAC.org. It's okay.
Misty at healingheartscac.org. Yes. Let's pretend that didn't happen. We keep it light here. We keep it very loose here. So excellent. So so you toured and that tour and then inevitably working with the organization is what sparked your inspiration on the book?
Yes. So I've always loved to write poetry as a way to express my feelings. And so after I had my tour and went home, I was considering other ways to get involved. The image of all the children that pass in and out of those doors wouldn't go away. Yeah. So I sat down and wrote a poem, and the poem was called Button of Bravery. And then from there, it was suggested by somebody that volunteers for Healing Hearts that I might turn that into a book. And so we just broke the poem down line by line and illustrated the poem. Due to the sensitive nature of the topic, I didn't want to get into a lot of detail and focus on a specific story. Mm-hmm. So we just chose to illustrate the poem. And then in the back of the book is ways to help Healing Hearts and also the number to report abuse, that kind of thing.
What's the overall theme of the poem? Is it there to brighten up the reader's day? Is it for the kids?
It is for the children. Yeah. I dedicated it to the children, the brave children of DeSoto and Tate County, because they are the ones that need to know that they're not alone, that there is a community that wants to help them. The staff at Healing Hearts is a wonderful resource for them. And, they fight to right the wrong that's out there. Mm-hmm. And these children, once they get there, I'm sure they feel a level of safety and security that they haven't felt before, finding trustworthy adults.
5M Services, we're your comfort specialist. We're dedicated to serving residential and commercial clients with money-saving solutions, combining the highest quality parts with our unwavering commitment to delivering exceptional service to give you the top-notch experience you deserve. A 10-year parts and labor warranty is included with every install. Dial 662-560-7331. 5M Services, making your comfort our priority. Visit us on the web at 5mservices.net for more information.
I would think putting their button in kind of gives them a sense of acceptance.
That's right.
It does. So once the child is done with the interview, the interviewer will then take the child down the hallway and they stop at the button room. Mm-hmm. And they explain to them, this is a button, and all these buttons you see on the wall, they represent children just like you. Oh, you're not alone.
Yeah, that's a great message there.
That's right.
You're not alone. Yeah.
What some of the book illustrations say, we came up with some positive phrases like I'm brave, I'm strong, I'm not alone. And the most important to me is they'll be remembered. When people tour the button room and they see the buttons up on the wall, those are children, and so they don't need to be forgotten.
That tugs at the heartstrings too.
It really does.
My goodness. I'm sure when I hear numbers like 50,000, that's a big number. But I would gather when you see a wall of, I would say, thousands of buttons.
Yes.
There's over 3,000, almost 4,000 buttons. And those are based on the interviews. So in the advocacy services are based on the family as a whole, like everything that we've done for the family.
But to see 3,000 buttons is going to be very impactful for anyone that's touring and get a real idea of the amount of children that need help. Mm-hmm. And like you said, 3,000 doesn't cover every kid. No, there's so many more cases out there.
That's right.
Well, thanks for writing that book. So I would gather when people purchase it, all the proceeds are going to Healing Hearts.
The books are priced at $10, and it's all going to Healing Hearts. Okay. And we hope that not only will it be used as a fundraiser, but just also to help spread community awareness.
Sure.
And to give to the children that come through the center.
To give them some comfort.
Right.
Yeah. Very cool.
And so we've had people choose to sponsor a book, and that book will then be given to a child. So the families don't have to pay.
Awesome. So tours, I heard you say tours. So is this something that the public can do?
So what we ask is that they either call or email one of us or me, and we will set it up, just because sometimes Fridays we'll have emergency cases. So if it's something like an intense, severe case that has to get seen within a certain amount of time, that is our free day, so we'll put them on there. But usually, yes, we give tours on Fridays. Whoever wants to come for a tour, we've done for businesses, other organizations. We work with our community partners like House of Grace and Heartland, because it's all of us that have to, help these children and the families and what they need. So they've come through, senators have come through, they just tour the facility and then they ask questions. Sometimes they make a donation and then, sometimes they just leave. And it's more about community awareness to let the parents know we are here. We're here to help y'all. We're here to help your child.
How big is your staff?
Right now we have 7. It'll be 8 starting March 18th.
So as executive director, what exactly is your role in all of this?
So I do the operation of the center. I make sure everything's running smoothly. I oversee each program. So we have 4 different programs: mental health, forensic interviewing, MDT coordination, and then we have the family advocacy program.
What was that third one?
MDT coordination?
Yeah.
So that is where our MDT coordinators are calling CPS and law enforcement, and they're saying, hey, this case meets protocol to come in for an interview. And they're calling law enforcement later on saying, hey, give me an update on your case. Or CPS, say what's going on with the family. So they're making sure that CPS and law enforcement are communicating together, because we need to work together for the best interest of the child. Also, once a month, we case review all cases for that past 30 days. So DeSoto County meets on a Tuesday. Sometimes those case reviews last an hour and a half. Sometimes they last a little bit longer. But we're going through each case and saying, okay, what's going on with this family? What are your next steps? Law enforcement, CPS, Healing Hearts, what are we doing?
And like you said, everyone's going to be different.
Yes.
Yeah.
Every case is different.
So when you say protocol,
Yes.
is that like a pre-screening type of action?
In a way.
What do you mean by protocol?
Okay, in a way. So what it was the leadership at DeSoto County. Let's just take DeSoto County. Same thing happened in Tate too. But the leadership, so like the sheriff or a supervisor or regional director of Child Protective Services met with our leadership team at Healing Hearts, and we all sat down and come up and said, okay, these are the cases that are going to come to Healing Hearts. So any allegation of sexual abuse, child pornography, sex trafficking, human trafficking, anything like that needs to come through Healing Hearts. So the team is agreeing that when they get these referrals, whether it be through the hotline of child abuse or law enforcement gets a police report, they are then going to log into our system and send us a referral where we can schedule for an interview. We also do felony child abuse, felony neglect, witness to a crime, and drug endangerment.
So how can people get involved? Obviously we got to fill those closets up.
Yes.
Yes. So how can let's start with donations.
Yes.
How do you accept donations?
Yes, we do.
How do you?
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you want to do like a cash donation or a check donation or anything like that, on our website, there is a button you can push on there that will take you directly to Network for Good or PayPal, and they go through there and it comes directly to us. We also take donations for our closet. That would be diapers, wipes, socks, underwear, clothing, anything like that the child may need.
Toiletries.
Yes. Toothbrush, toothpaste, hairbrushes, conditioner. Anything like that, we take those donations and we restock our closet. And as a child comes in or a family comes in, we're making sure that they get what we call bags of clothing. And so they're in nice little duffel bags or backpacks, and we give it to the family. Just because a child comes in, let's say a child's 6 years old and she's got 3 other siblings, but it's just the 6-year-old that's coming in, we're going to ask for the whole family though. What does the whole family need? What do all the children in the home need?
Yeah.
So, because you can't just treat one child, you got to treat the whole family as a unit. We want them to be stable.
Yeah.
And be able to get the support that they need to move forward.
They can work up together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So fundraisers?
Yes.
What do you do besides this beautiful book,
Yes.
Button of Bravery?
So we have a big fundraiser coming up March 29th. That is our clay shoot, and it's going to be in Panola County. This will be our 4th year.
Okay.
We have 3 flights, a 8:30 flight, a 11:30 flight, and a 2:30 flight, and that's where a team of 4 come in and they shoot the clays. We also have Buy a Tree, Change a Life. I don't know if you've heard of that. So that is at the Silo, and that's during the month of November and December. And the Silo has stepped in and helped us. We had some federal cuts 3 years ago, major federal cuts, and they have stepped in and said, let's do this fundraiser for you. And so they partner with Buy a Tree. They get all the Christmas trees, and they're there, and we're there for 3 weeks selling Christmas trees, 7 days a week. So that is our biggest fundraiser. 50% comes to Healing Hearts. Another 50% goes to an orphanage in another country. So it's a really good cause.
So that's every December?
Yeah, every November and December.
November, December.
Yes.
So the the clay shooting is
Yes.
by the time this airs.
Yeah. Yes, it
will
will
have
be
been
done.
in the past, but this is an annual event, right?
Yes. And then in October, we have our golf tournament.
Oh, very cool.
Yes, and that's
so I gather people can sponsor holes.
Yes.
And
Yep, we have station sponsors for holes. They can sponsor a team if they want to send, like sometimes we have banks that want to sponsor a few employees to send them to go play golf. Sometimes people just want to be what we call a banner sponsor. And so their company logo gets on our banner. And so everybody sees that comes that says, hey, you know what?
Yeah.
Fitzgerald is a big sponsor. You know, kudos to Fitzgerald for helping Healing Hearts.
where do you typically have the golf tournament?
Olive Branch Country Club.
Okay, very cool. This is full 18?
Yes, it is. Yes.
How many teams do you typically get?
It's maxed out. So we use as many golf carts as we possibly can. I believe that's 26, 27.
Nice.
So we sell out every year.
That's excellent. So, looking ahead, as people listen to this in April, how can they sign up
Sign
for these different fundraisers? So I'm taking the golf tournament of 2024 is booked.
No, not yet.
Okay.
Not
So
yet.
how can people reach out to you and get involved?
So here in the next, we're going to get through MDL Hearts, which is our clay shoot. And then in the summertime, we'll start putting on our Facebook, Sign Up Genius. You go in there and you choose what shift you want to work, what you want to do, and you just put your name on it and then show up. It'll give you,
We've got a little ladybug visitor out of
she
nowhere.
just wants to listen. But you'll be able to choose what you want to do, what time to come, and give the address.
Okay. Volunteers.
Yes, we take volunteers for all of our fundraising, especially Buy a Tree, Change a Life. That one is probably where we need at least 300 to 400 volunteers because it's so many. It's 3
Wow.
weeks straight,
Okay.
and so there's shifts, about 4 shifts a day, sometimes 5. It depends on the day. And people come in and work 4-hour shifts, or teams come in. Sometimes businesses like Ben Borman, which is our board president, he brought his nationwide crew, and they all came in. That was a team building exercise
Yeah.
to be able to give back to Healing Hearts and sell Christmas trees. And we tie them down, load them up, all of that great stuff.
How do you find 300 volunteers?
Social media.
Yeah.
Social
So
media.
you just throw it out on Facebook?
Yeah,
and-
we throw it out on Facebook. We call
Yeah.
our local people that we know that support us and be like, hey, we really need someone to come in and volunteer. You got anybody? We call businesses that we know are big supporters of ours. And a lot of times they'll shut down their business for 4 hours and it'll be a team building exercise.
Right, and youth groups too. I think
Yes,
help
youth
out.
groups come, churches come. Our local law enforcement, one year, the trees didn't get delivered the day they were. So Southampton PD were all out there, all the detectives in their nice suits, and they were unloading. I want to say it was around 600 trees that year.
Were they wearing sunglasses?
Some were, some weren't. So,
So what's the website again? For Healing Hearts?
yes, www.healingheartscac.org.
Yes, so that will be in the description as well. And all this information, all the events and everything's in there, correct? You can
Yes.
find your Facebook page through there.
Yes.
I implore you to follow that page because then you'll know when they need volunteers, right? Are we missing anything here? Is there anything you'd like to add in terms of any message you want to push out there to bring more spotlight on Healing Hearts? I don't mean to put you on the spot
No,
here,
no,
but
no, no.
before we let go, I always try to give the guests one last word.
We do trainings too. We have gone into local churches, daycares. We train the nurses at Northwest Community College on the signs and symptoms of child abuse. That way they're made aware and how to make that report. It's very important that all of us in the community are looking for this and that we do make that report, because if we're not making the reports, then the children aren't getting the help that they need. And it's a trickle effect. It can be a family cycle. Maybe mom was abused and now, it's happening to her daughter or her son or, so on and so on. Sometimes it's people can't afford the groceries, and so they're stressed, or their electricity bill's gone up, or this has gone up, and so they lose their temper a little bit. And then sometimes, it is a true severe case of abuse. But all these children, no matter if it's severe, if it's very mild, it's abuse. And it needs to be treated. And they need to be able to tell their story. And their story is so important, because not only that, in the old days, well, not the old days, about the 80s and 90s, what was happening was law enforcement was going to talk to the child. And so they got the story. And the CPS would go talk to the child. And they got the story. And then a counselor or a principal or a therapist or a doctor. And so all these people talk. So that child's like, I'm done.
And
I'm
a
done.
child's going to be nervous and afraid
Yes.
and dealing with different people coming at them. They're not going to tell the same story.
No.
It's always going to be a little
And it's
different.
how you word your questions.
Yeah.
You may word a question on what color is the car, and I may word it as, what color blue was the car? There's a difference. They may say blue to you, but to me, they're saying teal blue. So it's all how you ask those questions. Not only that, the main thing is we do not want these children traumatized over and over. So every time they have to tell their story, it's triggering them constantly. And it causes a lot of PTSD, secondary trauma, stuff like that.
And the person asking the questions, some of them might not be as nice.
Yes.
So the kid's going to clam up.
Yep. Or they may ask a leading question, which could throw it out, in a court case. So we're very neutral. We're very open-ended. We allow the child to, pretty much they're running the interview. Yeah. Sometimes we have to get them back on track. But if they want to go way over here to right field and say, hey, I want to talk about my dog, we're going to talk about the dog for a while.
So everyone's hearing the same story.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. Because it's videoed, correct?
Yes. Yes.
There you go.
It is video. So in the other room is law enforcement CPS, and they get to watch that interview live. So they're in the observation room, and then if there's any questions, every interview, the interviewer comes out for a few seconds, goes in there, because we can see them on the live screen to make sure the child's okay, and they'll come in and say, do I need to ask any clarifying questions, or do you need to ask anything else?
Yeah.
And then they'll go back in.
Because unfortunately, like you mentioned court earlier,
Yes.
It's like this is all stuff that could hurt you in court if not asked right.
Yes.
Right? So I would gather there's so much training in the interviewer to not lead.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. So yes, they have to go through intensive training to be able to provide those interviews, but they also have to go through so many hours of child abuse training every year. Not only that, they have to do what we call 3 peer reviews a year. And at one of those peer reviews, they have to show a live video or a video to their other forensic interviewers in the state of Mississippi, for they can critique it. And they can say, hey, next time think outside the box, or, you may have not done this right, or, kudos to you, you've done a wonderful job. You gave me ideas on what to do.
Yeah.
So, but yes, they have to retain that to be able to do the interviewing process.
Yeah, because it'd be a shame to ask something the wrong way that would then just kill it in court.
Yes.
It's unfair, you
Yes.
know, but I get it. I'm sure there's lawyers involved with all of
Yes.
us.
Yes. Yes.
But, well, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Ruth, one more time for your book.
Yes.
Let's do this. It's out now.
That's right.
I'm going to make sure I get that in the frame. It is called Button of Bravery. It is out now. It was released in April, early April, April 5th. Contact Misty at healingheartscac.org if you want to order a book, and all proceeds goes to Healing Hearts.
That's right.
So good work, Ruth.
Thank you.
This is the second time you're in here with a book that's raising money for somebody or something. Yeah. You're an angel.
Oh, thank you.
That's
Happy
awesome.
to write for good causes.
And your father he heads the Habitat for Humanity.
Yes.
So he raised you well. You sounds like you come from a good family. So we need more of that, and more of you too, Misty, and running the ship of this organization. That, I mean, if anyone can disagree on how important kids are, then they don't have their heads on right. The kids, as we mentioned off camera beforehand, so many stories you hear where people get into drugs, get into trouble, law, whatever it may be. It all starts from that childhood, and they just were not given a chance. Mm-mm. And it's like you almost can't fault them. Hey, if you're breaking the law, you're breaking the law. You're doing drugs, selling drugs, whatever it may be. Okay, it is what it is. But man, I'm sure there's so many kids that you guys take care of that could have easily gone down that path, but didn't.
Yeah. Yes.
We want to give them that hope for healing, for sure.
Yeah, and that following up with the children must be really nice to see their progression and everything. So
one of the best moments is watching them graduate therapy.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. And I will say, you're saving lives. Let's be real here.
This starts with them. To me, they're their heroes, because they're coming in and they're saying, hey, this is what happened to me. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So,
that takes a lot of bravery.
Yes, I know.
It's very brave.
Yeah, because it's going to be hard for a child to want to open up and relive it.
Yes, yes. And then my staff is absolutely wonderful. We could not be doing this right now if it wasn't for them.
Anyone you want to spotlight?
I will spotlight my whole staff. My forensic interviews, Emily, Maya, and Kendall, they're great. My coordinators, Kendall and Sean Willoughby. Okay. And then also Margaret and Emily, again, they are my family advocates, and Kristen is our therapist. All of them work very well together, and they always put the child first. They always, if something's wrong, they're going to come say, hey, what's in the best interest of the child? And so it's great to hear them say that, and it's great to watch them build. And to grow in what their position is, and always thinking outside the box on what is in the best interest of not only this child, but this family, but us as a team.
Everyone's pointing true north together
Yes.
as a team.
Yes.
And that's outstanding. So,
Yes.
well, again, thanks so much for doing this, coming in on a Saturday on the weekend.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time here. And once again, please help out and share this content. Whether you're watching this on YouTube, share the link. If you're listening to this on Apple and Spotify, throw it on your Facebook page. You're going to see a series of clips on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok with their content. Share away. Like them, comment, engage. That just boosts the reach and brightens the spotlight for Healing Hearts and all of the ministries and organizations that you find on this podcast. It's very important. But as always, thanks for hanging out and listening. If you made it this far, congratulations. And go to therealhernando.com to find all of these channels I'm talking about. Again, we're on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. It's a full network. We really try to get as much reach and spread as possible. Thank you to our wonderful sponsors, in particular our title, Wesley Meadows. They do good work over there. They're taking care of the elderly, right? So it's the people in the middle that, we need help too, y'all. No, I'm just kidding. There's plenty of organizations for everybody and everything. So as I always say, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening, and you have a great day.